Hey guys, today we are focusing on breaking down the blocks of color that we've created as our kind of underpainting and starting to add some expressive directional brushstrokes using a range of different shades of each color to kind of break it down and show movement and texture. So as you can see, I've already started with this tree here, and I'll continue on this second tree and then also show you what I might do with the water. So I'm going to open up my palette. Right, and I've already got, so I switched to a smaller brush, right? Last time we were using the biggest brush. Now we're going to be using a much smaller brush. I like this, the rounded tip, but each one has a different kind of shape at the beginning and end of the brush stroke. So you can play around with them depending on what texture you're trying to get. So I've already got brown here, so I'm gonna start with that and see where I need some brown. First, let me just put in this trunk here. So, so I've got brown on my brush, so I'm looking for the darkest spots in my tree. So I see some right here, right? So I'm looking at the leaves. Where are the shadows? Where are the darkest spots? You know, on this tree, I've got a big dark spot over here. This one's not quite as dark, so I've got some darks here and some darks up here. And what I like to do with this kind of impressionist style is, even if there isn't an obvious pattern or direction, right? You see how in this one I kind of created a swirl, and that gives it a sense of movement, a sense of kind of wind or swaying that can look really nice, right? So some of these things we're not necessarily trying to duplicate this picture, right? We're trying to give our own artistic interpretation to it. So creating a pattern of swirling can look really cool. So I'm gonna continue that over here. All right, so I'm using short little dashed marks to create the texture of the leaves. All right, that looks pretty good. I'm gonna switch over to a lighter color. All right, and I see some lights in the middle here and up top. All right, and so for these brush strokes to be noticeable, right, we have to be switching between different shades of color. Even slight variations can make a difference, right? Because if you're adding directional brush strokes, but you're just putting the same color on top of itself, it's not going to be as noticeable. Let me get something even lighter. Right, so again, I'm keeping my picture here, keeping it handy so that I can always look back at it. And, you know, I'm constantly looking back and forth. In fact, I'm probably spending more time looking at my photograph than I am looking at my painting, right? Because I'm looking for, where are the highlights? Where are the shadows? What direction are these leaves going? What shapes do I see? I think I want to get, I see some more yellow in here. I think I'm going to grab like a light yellow. All right, and I'm going to add a little more, this darker brown in the trunk. Awesome, looking good. All right, so I'm going to show you a little bit how I would do this water as well. Right, so water is another thing that has a really nice texture. It's usually kind of horizontal lines, maybe a little bit of wave. Depending on the, what's happening in the water, it might be a little bit different, but, right, and you also have this reflection of what's above the water. So if you see here, right, there's the blue, which is the sky, the blue sky reflecting, and then there's kind of a wavy border. It's not like a clean line the way the sky and the mountains are separated. But then in their reflection, it's more of a wavy separation. Right, so I'm going to add some kind of horizontal wavy lines, noticing where the lights and darks are. Right, so it's lighter here, it gets a little bit darker down here. Right, and depending on the texture you're trying to get, your lines might be shorter, they might be longer, they might be wavier or jagged. But we are looking for, again, expressive directional brushstrokes to give your painting this impressionist feel. Right, so I got some light in, I'm going to grab a different shade. A little darker. All right, so I'd like you to try and apply this technique to your painting. Definitely start in the places with the most texture. You might also like to add those brushstrokes to the sky to add a feeling of wind. But if it feels a little bit too busy to add it everywhere, you can also kind of lay up in some places and keep it a little bit smoother. But certainly, right, I'll definitely do the trees, the water, the gravel over here. I might leave my boats a little bit smoother. And I might leave this part of the sky smoother and do some texture over here where the clouds are. Anyway, we're going to keep working on this, and I'll see you next time.